Hello and welcome to Shoot the Hostage with me, Dan, and my partner, Sarah. We're a movie podcast who talks about a different film each week based on a theme. We do swear and we do spoil the featured movie, so only ever listen if you've seen the film or you don't care too much about spoilers. If you're a regular listener, you can just skip forward until you hear the intro music because you've heard all of this before. But if you are new to the show and you do enjoy what you hear, there are a couple of things you can do to help support the show. Firstly, make sure that you're subscribed on your podcast player so you get notified when new shows drop on Mondays. You could rate us 5 stars on Spotify, which couldn't be easier. You just hit the star icon below the show's artwork. Or if you have a spare few minutes, we'd love it if you could submit a review wherever you listen. Make sure you come follow us at STH_pod on social media. We are active on Instagram, Threads and TikTok. And lastly, the biggest thing you can do to help is tell a friend about the show. So that's about it. That's enough preamble from me. Over to me and Sarah for this week's episode.
Everybody's dipped already.
Is that how that bit goes?
Well,
and now I think I'm getting it mixed up with the snooker theme.
snooker has a theme.
Well, it did. I don't know if it still does.
I don't know if it's correct to answer your question because I have never owned a Nintendo gaming platform.
Really?
Or played a Super Mario game.
Piss off.
No.
Piss
never.
all the way off.
I will not.
How did I not know this?
I don't know.
Well, I was going to ask you these questions anyway, but anyone who hasn't read what this is, we're doing Super Mario Brothers. Last episode of the season, blah, 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 flops. You have never owned a Nintendo system.
Look.
Or played a Mario game, ever. Not even Mario Kart.
I may have played Mario Kart.
Okay.
In an arcade.
Right.
I'm pretty confident that I've never played any other Mario game.
That's crazy.
I know. I've made it to this grand old age, never having played any of them.
Now, I haven't played a Mario game in 30 years.
Okay.
Granted, I think I dropped off after I dropped in for the NES and then dropped off after the NES.
Was it this film that killed your involvement in the games?
No, I think it was the PlayStation that
Right.
killed my involvement with Mario and his brother Luigi.
Distracted you.
Yeah, and I sort of never went back to Nintendo. But
Right.
I had a real fondness. I've still got my Nintendo. It's right on my head there.
Does it work?
I'd probably not. I mean, how old is that? That's
So that's
35 years old at
Just
least.
a rather large paperweight then.
Yeah, I guess I just like to look at it. I don't keep much stuff, but for some reason I like to keep my old gaming systems. I've got my Mega Drive, I've got my NES, I've got my first PlayStation.
Yeah, you don't need to make excuses to me. I'm literally surrounded by absolute useless pieces of crap that I collect.
Yeah, don't I know it? That's crazy. I can't believe that passed you by. It's such a part of my, like, it was probably the NES was probably the first console that I got really into games.
Well, we were poor. My parents wouldn't get me a gaming console because they claimed we couldn't afford one. And I begged and I begged and I begged, and they finally got me a Master System when the Mega Drive had already come out, mind.
Right.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
But never had a Nintendo.
I was gifted a Nintendo, but by my parents' friends. I think when they upgraded to the SNES, they very kindly gifted their Nintendo to me.
Oh.
Because I was sort of, when we went around their house, they'd let me play Mario and I got obsessed with it. So they're like, there you go, have that. Very kind, very generous. But my first console was actually a Master System as well.
Okay.
I think my parents got it from a boot sale.
Ah,
and it had the little gun with it. I think it had the
like
built-in
that duck
games.
shoot. There was the duck shoot built-in game, and also there was a motorbike racing one.
Road Rash?
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. But you never had a Nintendo?
No.
What? You're an Xbox person now.
Yes, I am, but I've never felt the need to sort of go backwards, I guess.
Yeah, me neither, really.
Who wants Super Mario when we've got Halo?
Yeah, you're a big Halo person.
Yeah.
I like to shoot things or drive things generally in my games. I don't
so
really do
more
much
Mario
else.
Kart?
I actually never really played Mario Kart, funnily enough.
Okay. I just assumed that was always why you were throwing banana peels out the window when we're on the motorway.
Oh, is that where that comes from? I must have just absorbed it from the general cultural vibe.
And you do like mushrooms?
I'd like mushrooms as much as the next guy, yeah. I like all types of mushrooms.
And you're dating somebody whose name in Hebrew means princess. So...
Oh, right. What you
really?
Say means mushroom.
Sarah quite famously means mushroom.
Oh, you're my Daisy to my Luigi.
Apparently.
Very nice.
So I'm assuming since you have some knowledge of the games, or at least more than me, the storyline in this movie is really close to the video games.
Yeah.
So I've heard.
The storyline in the games is as complex as it is in the movie.
Pretty indistinguishable
so many moving
from what
parts,
I've heard.
yeah. You're definitely not just running around, hitting your head on a block, and then running up some steps and jumping on a flag.
No.
You're not doing that.
Too simplistic.
Yeah.
So what are the games all about? I know I'm being super sarcastic, but like, is there an aim? Is there any sort of plot?
Rescue the princess.
Okay. That's always the aim of these games.
An evil tortoise called Bowser.
Bowser. I know who Bowser is.
And sometimes you have little tortoises coming after you and you have to jump on their head and then you jump on them again and you flip them and the shells like bounce around the screen a bit.
How do you feel about that as an animal lover?
I mean, I didn't even thought about it really at the time. I suppose it's not great.
I always think about it. I feel so guilty shooting skags in Borderlands and they're not even a real animal. So I feel like this is sort of the tone that we're going to continue with this episode, because obviously this is rounding out our flop season. Do we need to ask why it flopped? Do we really need to address that question, or is it pretty obvious?
I don't think it's no, it's not a mystery, is it? It's a weird movie, not really for anyone in particular. Like it's trying to do too many things. It's not really for kids. It's not really for adults.
Yeah, the directors wanted to make a movie for adults. The studio wanted a movie for children.
Yeah, okay.
Heads were butted, and this is what we were left with. Fascinating. So, did you see this movie when it came out?
I think so, fairly soon after it came out. I'm pretty sure. I got my nan used to get deliveries. She used to pre-order movies sometimes, and they would get delivered to our house while she was at work.
Oh, would you get to them before she did?
Well, I couldn't open them. I had to sit on them. Because I couldn't text her and be like, I packaged it, can I open it? So so I'd just sit on them for a couple of days until the weekend and then hand them to my nan, and then she would open them and I'd go, oh, look, can we watch that now? And I think Mario Brothers was one of them. I think I was quite excited. Didn't go to the cinema to see it, but did have a VHS of it, and I wish I still had it. It would be nice actually to put that on the shelf.
I wonder if that's hard to get hold of. So I think I'm in sort of a similar position. I definitely didn't see it at the cinema. Did it get a cinema release over here?
Yeah, it must. Yes, definitely. It must have.
It made some money somewhere.
Well, it made 39 million.
Did it?
But a 48 million budget.
48 million.
Yep. But I think no, it's not a mystery as to why this flopped, because it's just a weird movie. It's not very good. I don't think it's as bad as some of the other movies we've covered this season.
I'm going to disagree with you quite heavily on this.
Ooh.
I just want to go back a second. 48 million is sort of that rivals what that we've done this season? Battlefield Earth?
It's in between Tank Girl and Driven.
Right, okay.
Battlefield Earth, I think, was... Oh, yeah, I suppose it probably...
Not the reported 70 million.
Yeah.
The actual
you're right.
figure.
It probably is about the same.
Yeah. And it's kind of wild to me, because if you compare it to recent releases, like there was that review that we read of Sinners, and somebody was like, oh, how many million? You can't see it on the screen. Yes, you fucking can. Can you see $48 million on the screen in Super Mario Brothers is my question.
Yes.
Can you?
100% I can, yeah. You've got Bob Hoskins.
Uh-huh.
You got Johnny Legs.
Was he like demanding a decent cut back then?
Probably his most. I mean, is this post Hook? Are we in a post Smee world?
Was Hook 92?
Maybe 91, 92. Yes, so it must be. But it must be coming off the back of Hook.
Yeah, I do know that quite a few or a handful of larger names were considered for the role. And I did read somewhere that the directors were under the impression he was a more profitable actor.
Okay.
They thought he was a bigger draw than he actually was.
Oh, but they didn't actually research that.
No.
They just assumed.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
He didn't have Wikipedia in 93.
I suppose not, no. But Dennis Hopper was well paid, I think, by all accounts.
Yep.
There are some really impressive sets, as particularly the main one, I guess, in the kind of otherworld Brooklyn.
Dinohattan.
Dinohattan. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. That's what it's always referred to as online. Dinohattan.
It just reminds me a lot of the Flintstones movie for some reason, this does. Just because that's quite weird as well.
Yeah, no shit. But so was the cartoon.
Yeah. But I think to answer your question, yeah, I can see the money on screen, which is what makes it a little bit more frustrating, if anything. I can see it. There's so many elements that separately you're like, oh, that would be a good idea. That would be a good idea. But then they smash them all together and you end up with a bit of a shit sandwich. But I'm not going to say I don't like it. I do enjoy watching it, but it's not very good. But it's not, I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as Battlefield Earth.
No.
I prefer
few films are.
This to Tank Girl.
It's funny because Tank Girl is always the film that comes to mind when I think of Super Mario Brothers. Because A, I think they'd make either a great or terrible double bill. And B, I think they've got so much in common.
Yeah, based on a kind of a different media, comic and games.
Yeah, both adaptations, both kind of had quite troubled productions.
Yep.
Disagreements off the screen, certainly. I don't know, like even Dennis Hopper and Malcolm McDowell sort of share some DNA.
Yeah, they both do very hammy villains, don't they?
Yeah. Although Kesley from Tank Girl has slightly less in common with Donald Trump.
Yeah, slightly.
But yeah, I don't know. The two films do sort of sit side by side in my brain for some reason.
But you prefer Tank Girl, I'm guessing, as what would you prefer to watch right now if you said you got to watch one of those?
Oh God, that's a really interesting question because obviously we've seen them both in the last month. If I hadn't seen either for a while, my answer might be different.
Right.
Probably Tank Girl, because that to me, it's more about nostalgia factor. I did watch Super Mario Brothers quite a bit when I was a kid as well. And also one obviously has kangaroo men, another one has lizard men. There's a similar level of weirdness going on, I think.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
A lot of parallels that can be drawn.
Yeah, both a little bit Cronenbergian. There's some body horror in both of them, isn't there? Like you've got the genetic engineering of the kangaroo people in Tank Girl.
And you've got draining people for their water.
And draining people, and in Mario Brothers you can turn someone into fungus.
And you can de-evolve them.
Yeah. That feels very weird to me.
Yeah.
Like very up that Cronenberg street. Which is why it's like, why did you think that was a good idea? It's something that I enjoy about this, but why do you think that was the thing to do in this kids movie? Part funded by Disney, I think.
It was, yeah.
It's never going to work.
It's so strange because it sounds like the original script, which is what most of the actors read before signing on, had some really interesting ideas in it. It sounded like quite adult, quite in-depth, quite plot-driven. And then the studio came on board and were just like, they just kept demanding changes because they wanted a kids film. They thought that's where the money was. And the directors were really, really at odds with them about that. Really disagreed. And apparently at one point there were rewrites every day.
Oh, wow.
To the point where the cast just stopped paying attention.
Yeah.
Until the script landed in their hands.
Yeah. I watched there's an hour documentary on the Second Sight Blu-ray that I paid actual money for. And Johnny Legs is saying like it was about halfway through the shoot they were like, oh no. So I'm surprised that it took that long. But I think other people were aware that it was going to be an issue earlier on in the process. The editor, Mark Goldblatt, he said that someone came to him on day one and said, I think we've got a problem.
Just the one?
Yeah. But it seems like everyone signed up to this original idea, which was good, including the people that financed it. Like, I will never understand that. It's like, you knew what it was. Why come in? Because money. That's the answer, isn't it? But everyone knew what that was going to be. And then they come in and interfere with it and try to make it more kid-friendly. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be a kid-friendly film. It is a computer game movie called Super Mario Brothers. But at that stage, like apparently... like you say, so many rewrites leading up to the project and then during the project. It's just crazy. And you can see that on screen. I remember thinking while we were watching it this time, just how disjointed everything feels, how like it feels like they made it up as they went along.
Well, it sounds that's pretty much what happened.
It's like, let's build these really incredible sets, by the way, but we're not really sure what we're going to do with them yet.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened from what I've read.
Yeah.
The point at which changes started being made, the entire sets have been built, everything had sort of been decided.
Yeah.
And then, it does sound like some of that perhaps went to waste.
And that's why it's so frustrating, because I feel like there's so much good stuff in here. There's so many good ideas. I like the casting, although it's a bit weird to have two non-Italian actors playing Italian plumbers.
So, two men of completely different ethnicities.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I'll take Bob Hoskins over Chris Pratt playing Super Mario.
What, even now?
Well, he did the cartoon, didn't he? Oh, Bob Hoskins is no longer with us.
Yeah, I mean, I would still take Bob Hoskins now over Chris Pratt.
I would take Corpse Bob Hoskins too over Chris Pratt, I haven't seen that cartoon Mario movie, I'll be honest. It didn't really interest me.
No, but again, I think that's more to do with the fact that I never played the games, so I've got no investment in that sort of thing beyond this film, which is probably sacrilege to any actual Super Mario fans.
Well, it is a bit, but we'll get past it. Well,
you'll forgive me.
I suppose Hoskins is a funny one for me because he's a bit of a blind spot. Like, I must have seen Roger Rabbit at that point. Definitely, of course, saw Hook, but didn't really understand that was Bob Hoskins.
Well, and those two films that you've just mentioned are why he signed on to do a more adult-orientated film, because he'd done kids' films.
Oh, okay.
So he was sort of over it by that point and was so frustrated to wind up in this scenario.
I bet. And he hated this movie. Like he went on record all the time just saying how much of a shit show it was.
Everyone did.
Johnny Legs broke his hand during the making of it.
Johnny Legs broke his hand. Do you want to know what happened to Bob Hoskins?
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Legs broke Bob Hoskins' hand.
Oh, yeah. And he had to wear like a painted
splint
cast.
Yeah.
They painted it pink.
Yeah, they used it. They like brought the jacket sleeves down to cover his hand a bit as well.
Yeah, but funnily enough, Johnny Legs broke a leg.
No, I did not know that.
During this, yeah.
Is that why it's called Johnny Legs?
It is, yeah, apparently. But yeah, so allegedly, John Leguizamo broke a leg after being hit by a car on set whilst drunk.
He was drunk, or the car was drunk?
The car wasn't drunk.
Right.
I don't think that's possible. Yeah, did you know that Johnny Legs has written several books?
No, I did not. I know he's a man of many talents.
Including a memoir.
Okay.
Bear that in mind. Put a pin in that for a second.
Are we going to come back to the Johnny Legs memoir?
We are going to come back to Johnny Legs, yeah. So there was that scenario. He did write in his memoir that he and Hoskins were pretty much drunk throughout production. From about like the midway point on. They were just like, this is terrible. Let's just start drinking. And they did to get through it.
I think that was the right call.
Well, it was, except one of them ended up with a broken leg as a result.
Yeah, I suppose.
Johnny Leg. But Bob Hoskins broke a finger, which he forgave Leguizamo for immediately.
It was an accident.
He cursed him out and then immediately went, it's fine.
Which
is so English.
Imagine like your big shot.
Yeah.
And you're next to like star of Roger Rabbit and other things. And you break their hand.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Apparently he was also stabbed 4 times.
What?
By what? I don't know. He was electrocuted and he almost drowned.
Blimey.
So Hoskins had a lot of reasons for hating this movie.
Yeah.
A lot. He was quoted at one point as saying it was a fucking nightmare, to paraphrase. It had a husband and wife team whose arrogance had been mistaken for talent.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Dennis Hopper also said it was a nightmare. It was a husband and wife directing team who were both control freaks.
Mm.
So, do you know much about the directors?
I know
dip
almost
into this.
Yeah, almost nothing. They were on the Talking Heads Blu-ray extra, and they were quite. It's Annabel, Jankel, and Rocky Morton.
Mm-hmm.
Annabel Jankel was very positive about Bob Hoskins and was like, "Oh yeah, I know he hated the movie, but he was great, and he really was very professional at the time."
Just not after the fact.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. How did they seem? Did they seem like affable people or
a
bit off?
I know they seemed all right. Like it's difficult to tell, really, isn't it? Because you're seeing the best parts of it. You don't know what was cut out of them going, fucking shoot me properly. Just the light's not on my face or whatever.
I don't know much about Bob Hoskins, but I know enough about Dennis Hopper that if he badmouthed me, I probably wouldn't take it too seriously.
Right.
But if it's coming from more than one source, I would be more inclined to believe there was something to it, I think. So, yeah, maybe they were just awful on set.
Perhaps. But I don't know anything else about them. I know that they created... Did they create or direct or whatever?
Max Headroom.
Did they create that then? Did they come up with it?
I believe so. I think that was their brainchild, yeah.
I was surprised that they were British because I just assumed Max Headroom was an American thing. I'd never heard of it until I think you told me about it a few years ago. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Matt Frewer was Max Headroom, right? And he's Canadian, I think.
Mm.
But yeah, I guess I always associated it with being more of an American thing.
It was popular in the States, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it more popular over there than it was over here?
Possibly, because I don't know that many people that are very well versed in Max Headroom.
I wonder if in America they have the signs that say Max Headroom.
If they don't, then it's immediately unfunny, right?
Yeah.
I think it sadly became most famous for the Max Headroom incident, which was like a really infamous sort of, I don't want to call it hacking. I guess it was a sort of hacking, like a cable broadcast that was intercepted. So it sort of became notorious with that. It became a bit of an online mystery, people trying to figure out who'd hijacked the broadcast of Max Headroom.
Right.
But that's what most people associate it with these days.
Okay. Like the end of Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like that. Yeah, so we don't know much about them outside of that. And I guess this film sort of seems to have not necessarily killed their careers, although it kind of seemed to for a while, right?
I honestly have no idea. I saw them on a documentary. I didn't look up anything else about them. I don't believe they directed another feature.
No.
But I don't. Maybe they did. Did they not then?
I mean, I had a look on Letterboxd and IMDb,
Nothing
and their credits seem pretty scant.
Nothing on like TV or because did they come from music videos? Were they a bit of a Fincher?
Oh, maybe.
In that regard?
Maybe.
Although their careers turned out very differently.
This could have been Fincher if all he'd made was Alien 3.
Yeah. Imagine if Fincher had made Super Mario Brothers. That would have been good, I think.
Would Dinohattan have been a spacecraft / prison?
Yeah. Yeah. Made out of wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would watch that. So in terms of other people that are involved, we've got some heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Some big names. Some
huge names. Like I always thought Fisher Stevens was brown until this movie. I did. It's the honest truth.
You were led astray by Short Circuit.
I was deceived.
And that terrible, terrible decision to make him do that accent.
Yeah. I was most offended by that. Out of everyone, I was most offended by that.
Were you?
Yeah. It
affected you the most.
It affected me the most, yeah. No, it's nuts, isn't it, though?
It's a hate crime. It's awful.
I can't believe that's a thing. But
Hank Azaria was doing a poo on The Simpsons for way, way longer.
Yeah.
Way after the Short Circuit thing. So, we didn't learn our lessons immediately.
No.
That's for sure.
So yeah, you got Fisher Stevens.
Oh,
And
dear.
I think years later, he pops up in Succession, didn't he, as well?
Yes. Yeah.
And random stuff in between, including one of your, use the term guilty pleasures, right? What's
Yeah,
that movie
you know I
that
hate
you
the
love?
term guilty pleasure, but I
I know.
do enjoy Hackers. I don't feel any guilt.
I know you do. I know, boy, you don't feel guilt, but I know you do love it.
Yeah. It's shit, though.
Yeah.
But it's also great.
Was it a flop?
Yeah.
We could have had that on this season.
could
Were you
have done.
considering it?
No.
Okay.
There are so many other themes that could go into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess who's the DP? Was it Semler?
Dean Semler.
Dean Semler.
Who we've covered one of his movies before. Waterworld.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, another pretty heavy hitter.
Yeah.
He actually replaced the original DP, whose name I can't remember, after production had already begun. And about a week into it, he knew he'd made a terrible mistake.
Right, yeah.
Alan Silvestri.
Oh yeah, Silvestri on the score. And it's a bizarre score though. It's not
a very Silvestri score, is it?
It's not a very anything score. It's so inconsistent and just different in different places.
It's a bit plinky plonky Goonies.
Yeah.
In some places.
The bit when they're driving a truck and when they're trying to get to the job.
Yeah.
Where all the plumbers apparently just head to one job and whoever gets there first gets the job. Not heard of the tendering system in Mario World? The music there is going. I think there's even a.
It's very capery.
Yeah. And then you get like the Hellraiser type stuff at that point. Like you get that stuff. You get a little bit of the computer game music.
Yeah.
You get some crazy pieces of music in the film. There's a song. What song has got the word dinosaur in it? Open the door, get on the floor, everyone walk the dinosaur. We've got to have that in a movie about dinosaurs.
But also, that doesn't make any sense. Everybody walk the dinosaur.
Open the door, get on the floor. Let's start there. You open the door, the floor, or the door?
Both.
Maybe there's carpet on the door.
Maybe. Who knows?
And you have to vacuum new doors.
None of it is. There's no specificity. I need to know these things.
If your door has carpet on, is that also floor? So if you open the door, can you get on it? And then that's also the floor?
No. If it functions as a door, it's a door.
Right. So is the implication there then you open the door, the dinosaur comes in, you're on the floor, and then you've got to get up and walk the dinosaur?
Yeah.
What's the next instruction? It's very confusing.
It is. It is.
Right.
I don't understand how that song had legs.
I think the next instruction is boom boom akalaka boom 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 alaka boom boom.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's even more confusing in that case.
Yeah. Let's break down what that means. But they've got that in this movie and it sticks out like a sore thumb. The music is wildly inconsistent. It's not Silvestri's best. No. It's weird. But it
sort of feels like it's been assembled from leftovers.
Yeah, it does feel thrown together. And I suppose it fits the movie very well, really.
Yeah, in that respect.
Because it all just feels like, oh, this thing, that thing, let's throw all this in, but not really thought about any consistency. At least that's how it plays.
Yeah, it's like if somebody had 5 jigsaws, dumped all the pieces on the table together and just went, go on then, make sense of that.
Yeah.
No, you can't. It can't be done, clearly.
Mark Goldblatt, who's the best person at puzzles, get him in to figure out how to put these pieces together.
Some of the pieces have giant boots on them.
Yeah.
Some of the pieces...
Did you say boots?
Boots.
Boots, right, yeah.
Some of the pieces have men with tiny dinosaur heads on them.
Like the Beetlejuice guy.
Yeah, it made me think of that. Was he called Bob?
I have no idea.
The shrunken head guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, same principle, right?
Big man, small head?
I was thinking more like suit that covers the actor's actual head than just a tiny head popped on top.
I guess so. When you think about it, there must be people in those suits.
Yeah.
They're not...
Who else could sway that realistically?
Yeah. You've got dancers in there. Dr. Beverly Crusher is doing a choreography.
Is she?
Yeah. But speaking about Labyrinth last week, actually, the puppet connections in this.
It's funny. I did make a note about that, yeah.
Yoshi's a really impressive puppet.
I do love Yoshi. Yoshi is the highlight for me. Yoshi's not in it enough.
Okay. Most important person.
Oh.
MIP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This movie should have been about Yoshi.
I guess so. It is supposed to be about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So to have a dinosaur, they feel it.
And it's
I love
not.
it.
It's about plumbers, which is way less interesting.
Yeah. 9 people to control that puppet.
Yeah, I read that. Like coils of what do you call it? Inside it, just to, I don't know.
Control puppets,
words.
puppet strings, just puppet wire.
Yeah, something or other, like just coiled up inside it because there were so many different mechanisms. Yeah. But yeah, we said what, 5 people to puppet Hoggle last week?
Yep, 5 and 9 this time.
9 for Yoshi.
Yeah, just 7 years later.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But maybe the best looking thing in the film?
Looks great.
Yeah.
Half of the budget probably went on that.
Yeah.
It's
and the other thousands were Goomba dicks that never made it to air.
Yeah, Goomba. It was a weird decision to make them dance, but I think that was sort of made up on a day. Yeah,
much like everything else, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that was in the script and Bob Hoskins went, yeah, sign me up for this shit.
This is really well thought out, actually. They were talking about the directors that they had this elevator scene and they didn't know how to make it interesting because they just got in the elevator. They're like, what should we do in the elevator? Like, well, we could have thought of that maybe a while ago.
Yeah, in pre-production, perhaps.
Yeah. But, and they were like, oh, let's think about this and rewrite the scene. And what they came up with, let's make them dance a bit and that distracts them. Like, I believe the example was like a snake charmer. Like you can hypnotize reptiles in that way. And that was the thought process behind that. It's not without thought, okay. But it's an odd decision. And that's what this movie is.
It's just a series of odd decisions.
Yeah.
And that should have been the tagline.
Yeah.
What was the tagline?
You'll never believe a man can jump.
Was it really? No, it wasn't.
I think it was just simply did.
Wasn't like trust the fungus or something.
It should have been trust the fungus, shouldn't it?
Yeah. Good advice in the Super Mario Brothers. Terrible advice in The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Context
is
important.
Don't trust that fungus. Don't trust that one. That's a bad one.
It is, yeah.
But it reveals itself pretty early as a bad one.
Yeah.
The fungus in the Mario Brothers, you're not quite sure of its motives for the longest time.
It's just like benevolent fungus for the most of the runtime.
You're not sure though. Like it could go either way. Like this could be an evil fungus, and then when the fungus gifts Luigi a bomb, you're like, oh, this is a good fungus.
Do you know what? It took until this rewatch of Super Mario Brothers for me to understand the band name reference in Scott Pilgrim.
What's the band name reference?
The band name is called Sex Bomb.
Oh, right. Okay. I didn't even click that when we watched that movie.
And I've always just thought it was like a quirky name, but I'm an idiot because of all the fucking video game references in that movie. Of course. That I didn't put that together until
Everything's
now.
a video game reference in that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm stupid.
Is that a video game movie?
Scott Pilgrim?
Yeah. If we were doing a video game season, which we will one day, could I justify putting that in?
Yes, because we get to decide the parameters of our themes. True. But is it strictly speaking a video game movie? No, it's a comic book movie.
It's an adaptation of a comic book.
Yeah.
But it is
played
like a computer game.
Yeah, it embraces video games to such a degree that I think you could include it.
Yeah. Like Gran Turismo would be a difficult one as well because it's not really about a video. It's about a guy that played the game.
Yeah, that absolutely counts, though.
Yeah. No, it would count for me, like, because we're going to do this, I think, one day, just so we can cover Gran Turismo Need for Speed.
Oh, no.
Others.
In both in one season.
Well, when else am I going to get to put Need for Speed on? Koenigsegg season.
I don't know, maybe we'll do like a Rami Malek season or something.
It's unlikely, isn't it?
8 really diverse performances.
It's very different in all of them.
Yeah, he's a really gifted performer that just doesn't do wide eyes. And
this one is different. He's playing Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. This one, he's got big teeth. Totally unlike any other performance.
I will get to a video game movie at some point. It sounds like it's probably going to be mine.
We're doing one right now.
Oh, with video games season, I mean.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I guess we can't have Mario Brothers on it again.
Oh, what a shame.
We could cover things again, or we could do the new Mario.
I suppose. Yeah.
Samantha Mathis? You much of a Mathis head?
Not really, but I knew who she was when I was a kid because I was obsessed with River Phoenix.
Oh, Little Women? Is River Phoenix in Little Women?
No.
What am I thinking of?
I've not got a clue.
Never mind. What are you saying?
It's funny. This has been mentioned twice this season, actually. We brought this up in the Empire Records show. Samantha Mathis was in a film with River Phoenix, I think in 91 or 92, called The Thing Called Love, about country singers, which is why I've never suggested to you, let's watch The Thing Called Love, because I feel like you'd hate it. But it was one of the only 3 films written by the woman who did Empire Records.
Right.
And they started dating after they were in that together, and she was with him when he died.
Okay.
So that was sort of my introduction to Samantha Mathis after Super Mario Brothers. And then she's sort of popped up in a bunch of stuff, hasn't she? Like Broken Arrow and...
Broken Arrow is the thing that I know her most from.
The Thomas Jane Punisher movie, briefly.
Oh, was she? We watched that quite recently, and I don't remember her in that.
Well, she's not in it for very long. Right, that's why. She's his wife.
Yeah.
Spoilers for that.
Was she in Pump Up the Volume? Was she in that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That might have been the first film she was in.
Oh, really?
1990.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, so I don't know. She's still knocking about. She's still doing stuff. She's I think at one point she was sort of headed for, or people assumed she was kind of headed for big things, but her career didn't necessarily take off like people thought it might. Maybe it was because of this.
I don't think this did anyone any favours, really, did it?
Not for a while, certainly.
Johnny Legs, I mean, I guess this must have been the first time I saw him in a movie.
Let's talk about Johnny Legs, shall we? Because you're a big fan of John Leguizamo.
Yeah. When I saw this movie when I was a kid, I and for years thought his name was John Leguizamo.
Okay.
And then we saw him in Romeo and Juliet. I watched that at school. I was like, it's Luigi. But I'm a big fan of Johnny Legs. Yeah, I think he's a fun actor.
And author.
And proclaimed author.
I don't know about proclaimed.
And author.
Yeah. So he's written, I could find listings for 4 books on Goodreads, one of which seemed to be a compendium of 4 of his one-man shows. Oh, yeah, I know. He does a bit of stand-up as well and one-man show stuff. I had no idea. Man of many talents. He is, yeah. So his books are called... he wrote one called Ghetto Clown, with a K, a graphic memoir. He also wrote Freak, a semi-demi-quasi-pseudo-autobiography. He also wrote Pimps, Hoes, Player Haters, and all the rest of my Hollywood friends. He seems to like writing books that have really unwieldy titles. Yeah. But yeah, I've never read any of them, but they are rated very highly on Goodreads. Are they? So maybe you should then. Maybe I should. Maybe you should have in preparation for the show. Well, it's a bit late now, isn't it? It's a bit late now. I'll try and find an audiobook, but only if he narrates it. This is also our second Lance Henriksen movie that we've covered. The first being Near Dark. Yep. And he's in this a lot. He's in it loads. Yeah. He's basically the protagonist. He's always around, really, when you think about it. Yeah, even when you can't see him. Yeah. Met one of his, I don't know how many times he's been married, but he met a wife on this set, but she wasn't his wife at the time. They met then, and then they got married after. That's how that works. They didn't just turn up to work at the same time and he met her. No, they didn't meet on a set and go, "Oh, aren't we married?" No, I know you. It's the other way around, yeah. that. But married for about 10 years, I think. But okay. Yeah, Lance Henriksen. I always forget that he's in this movie. Yeah, because he's basically not. Yeah, I would like to see a sequel and see where that goes. It was just a curious choice to have Lance Henriksen be the fungus. Yeah. What was the thinking behind that? I'd love to know. I think it was a bit of a favour. Oh, that would make sense. I think perhaps he knew a producer or something on the movie, and they were like, "Do you fancy doing this?" He was like, "Yeah, all right, go on then, go on then. You need a King Cooper? No, that's Dennis Hopper. Who's Bowser then? Bowser is the king. Cooper is the turtle guy, right? I've never played the games.
True,
Don't look to me for confirmation.
But Cooper is Dennis Hopper because he's always
Yes.
banging on about Cooper coins.
Yeah.
And the Cooper King and the Cooper cousins.
I did read somewhere that it's rumoured that he was actually loosely based on Donald Trump.
Really? Well,
But,
this version of not the original Nintendo.
No. This Dennis Hopper version of Cooper.
Yeah, you can see it, can't you?
But it's funny because we both made that comment as we were watching the film, like the egomaniacal shit, just waffling, talking nonsense, gesticulating with his hands quite a lot. There are so many, even the way he talks, like the specific kind of mannerisms.
Yeah.
We both made that observation. And so I don't know, finding that, like, it's rumoured, blah, 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 was just sort of confirmation bias for me. That could have been written by somebody who'd done what we did and watched it with hindsight and gone, oh, the similarities are glaring.
I think to watch it at this point, the similarities are glaring.
Yeah.
Back then when this film came out, he was just a failing businessman, really, wasn't he?
Well, I'll be honest, like, we didn't really get The Apprentice. Like, we have our own version of The Apprentice over here.
Yeah, we had the first one.
Yeah, with Alan Sugar.
Yeah.
But
that's right. Oh, yeah, I was thinking of Dragon's Den. I was thinking he wasn't in that, but yeah, he was. Yeah, of course.
So we didn't get that version of The Apprentice.
No.
Until 2016, I was sort of mostly blissfully unaware of Trump.
He was always that guy that he sometimes pops up in movies, and it was more of a reference in film.
Yeah, like a Home Alone 2
exactly
scenario. Yeah. But that was the extent of my knowledge. He was just a wealthy guy.
He might pop up on Terry Wogan or something. You're like, who's that guy? Oh, he did a cameo in Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, watching this now, given where we are, it's like the similarities are insane.
Yeah.
They both descended from the T-Rex, both reptiles. So there's that.
Yeah.
It's the most obvious one. There's a lot of consistency in the hairstyles of both of them.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Cooper is less orange of the face.
Slightly less orange.
Yeah.
They both bathe in mud. They both have a bizarrely long tongue.
Oh, that's not something I care to think about.
They both, at some point in their lives, have screamed, "We're merging," and then laughed maniacally. He probably does it. Trump probably does it when he's having sex.
Oh, no.
I made a joke to you.
I don't think Trump does have sex.
I don't want to think about it. Why did we go down that road?
Well, you went down that road.
So I apologise. There's no way.
Well, there
Probably
is a way. He pays women for it.
Well, there's that, yeah.
Apparently, allegedly, Melania has fees, appearance fees, which is why they're seldom together, because he has to pay her so much money to appear with him in public. I would not be at all surprised if that were true.
No, not at all.
Humiliation fee. So did you not think that the VFX were really advanced in this movie then? Did you not believe that Dennis Hopper and Bob Hoskins were merging?
I just thought it was quite good, actually.
Did you?
Now you ask me, what we're in there at the end of the movie where they're merging with two realities together.
Yeah.
It was quite good.
Did you?
It disappearing like hands and stuff.
And people jumping through a rock.
Yeah,
you thought that was dead good, did you?
I thought it was all right for the time.
The same year as Jurassic Park, you thought that was something that would pass muster.
I think, yeah, Jurassic Park's probably the best example you could use. Is they both got dinosaurs in.
The benchmark, yeah. Both
took 65 million years to make. But I think they're different movies though. Like Jurassic Park is it's a great example, but Jurassic Park is using the effects that it has wisely. In Mario Brothers, I think they're trying to do a bit too much, but I think it doesn't look terrible. Like it.
You think between Super Mario Brothers and Jurassic Park that Super Mario Brothers is the one that was too ambitious?
For what they had at their disposal, yes, to a degree.
Do we know what the budget for Jurassic Park was? Obviously,
no. Well,
seriously,
it's a few quid, I reckon.
Yeah.
Let's have a guess. I'm going to guess 110 million.
Oh, I was going to say 100.
Jurassic
Back then.
Park, 1993. Oh, blimey.
What was it?
63 million.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Apparently.
15 million more than Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
There's no excuse.
7 million less than Driven. Isn't that nuts? But there is a vast difference. There seems to be quite a big jump between like the 90s and 2000 in how much things cost. That would have been considered a really big budget, I guess.
Yeah, but also there's a vast difference between the talents of Steven Spielberg and Rennie Harlin. You can't really compare the two.
Some would agree with that, yeah. When I say some, every person that has eyeballs.
Yeah.
Or ears.
And isn't a massive fan of Cutthroat Island.
I haven't seen Cutthroat Island. I want to watch it, actually. Let's do a pirate season.
Oh, God. So many seasons.
Muppet Treasure Island, Cutthroat Island, The Island of Dr. Moreau. No pirates in that.
There's no
or
pirates.
are they pirates?
There's no pirates.
But are they pirates?
There's no pirates.
Okay. But, yeah, they don't... Okay, so some of the effects don't look amazing. Some of the visual effects don't look amazing. But I can kind of forgive it that. And I think part of it is that they make such weird off the beaten track decisions in this that it could be really terrible. And I think I would still kind of forgive it because like it's about the ambition and just I don't know, there's some really weird ideas that I just kind of respect, I guess.
Well, but I sort of feel the same way about Tank Girl, but I still think that's a pile of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, to its credit, at least Super Mario Brothers didn't fill in the blanks with pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't film this. Just, I don't know, put a picture up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you know that things got so tense on set at one point, particularly between Bob Hoskins and Rocky Morton and, remind me.
Annabel Jankel.
Jankel. Why do I keep wanting to say Frankel? Annabel Jankel. That Bob Hoskins affectionately referred to them as the cunt and the cow to the point where some crew members allegedly had
T-shirts made
with that written on it.
There always have fucking T-shirts made.
Which I can imagine would have exacerbated tensions on set somewhat.
I might do. Did they wear them on set?
I don't know.
They can't.
It didn't specify.
They would have been fired immediately, right? That's mean.
Yeah, I don't know. It just sounds like the directors and everybody else who had any involvement were on very different pages throughout. Because I know Rocky Morton at one point said he found Dennis Hopper really difficult to work with. Kel's Priest.
As many people have documented, yeah.
Yeah. And he described the entire process as humiliating. So it sounds like there's not a lot of love lost on either side there.
Dennis Hopper was pretending to be a dinosaur. Did you notice in a lot of his footage as well, he's doing the little hands thing? Like he's holding like a file like that, like he's got his hands over like a dinosaur. Apparently he would walk a little bit like a T-Rex on set and stuff, and people were like, who's this clown?
I did not notice that, I'll be honest.
I didn't notice it at the time, but it's they brought it up in a documentary.
But also, I don't know that would have stuck out as glaringly weird to me because there's a thing known as like the autistic and ADHD T-Rex hands.
Right.
Okay. Just like, I don't know, something to do with blood flow or just awkwardness. But a lot of us kind of hold our hands high, and definitely when we're sleeping. Okay. I'm doing it, but nobody can see.
I trust you.
You can see.
I can see you. I don't need to trust you. I can tell the listener you can trust us. Buy our crypto. We've got some sweet crypto out. It's not a scam.
We don't, but we do have a Patreon.
Shameless.
Well, you've got to be. You have to be. If we're enduring these terrible movies, I think we should be rewarded in some small way.
We're going on a break soon, so there's not going to be an episode out for a couple of weeks, but they'll probably
We're not going on a break. We're still going to be recording.
Well, we are. I know, but I mean, if you're a listener, you'll have a couple of weeks. But like, there's not been an episode out, like full episode out for a while. It's because we're on a break. Like you say, we're still recording, and maybe we'll be releasing stuff over on our Patreon.
We definitely will be.
We will be. That was shameless.
That was definitely shameless. That was way more shameless than what I said. I am so interested to know if the original script is anywhere online. I want to know if it's accessible because I'd love to read it.
All things must be available online.
Not necessarily. Maybe that was disappeared on purpose.
There is a fan edit of the movie. You aware of this?
I'm not, no.
It's called the Morton and Jankel cut.
And it's a fan edit.
I believe it's a fan edit. I found out about this during my research this week, listening to an episode of one of the guys from Auntie Donna has got another John Leguizamo podcast. and it's called, I think it's called Mission Zach's Leguizamo-rama.
I love it.
And they do a John Leguizamo thing every week.
Okay.
And Super Mario Brothers was their first one. But then they did another one where they spoke about the fan edit called the Morton and Jankel cut.
Okay.
And apparently it has 20 minutes. And apparently you don't need those extra 20 minutes.
No shit. I don't think anybody watched this film when I wish that was longer.
I wanted to watch it though. If I had time, I would have watched it.
But did you know that the original script had kind of Mad Max influences?
You can see it.
And more political satire, and
you can see some of that too.
You can see some of it. It's weirdly sort of anti-corporate, anti-capitalist, anti-dictator, anti-dinosaur. There is a decent amount of that stuff still left over. But that just sort of serves to make me more frustrated about what could have been.
But I couldn't agree more. Like I do love this movie, I think.
Do you?
Yeah.
Unabashedly. This isn't a guilty pleasure. This is just a pleasure for you.
It kind of is a guilty pleasure because it's not, like I said before, it's not great. And I can see that, but it's not great in a way that it's just so inconsistent and it's weird. But that's also the stuff that I kind of like about it. It's always changing. There's a new thing. Like every few minutes, they're like, "Oh, we've got to get to this job." Now there's this archaeologist and they're digging up, but there's also this evil building contractor that's like the most unnecessary thing in the world. Like why is this a thing? Oh, we've got to turn him into a monkey in a final act. Oh yeah, all right, let's leave that in then. And then they jump through the rock. And then they're in the. Oh, I realise I'm just doing a walkthrough of the plot, but just to exemplify how nuts
some people do big numbers with that shit on YouTube.
Maybe we should do it. But like, my point is that it's every few minutes there's a change. It's like they're in a police station now. There's rocket boots and there's a bomb and there's a mushroom. You got to trust it. And now we're going to put the suits on. There's an elevator. What should we do in the elevator? Let's make them dance a bit. There's a water slide moment where they're going through the tunnels on the mattress. It's crazy the stuff that happens in this, but that's part of what I'm just like, this is so weird, and I think that's great because you just wouldn't get it now. It's too like
true, yeah.
And this was the first computer game movie, so I believe it was the first feature live action.
I think you're right.
Movie based on a video game, and it didn't really have a template. And it's weird because it felt like it took 2 or 3 decades for them to figure out a template for video game movies because...
Oh, they figured it out, did they? What's Eli Roth's excuse then?
What did he do?
Borderlands.
Oh, Lord, I forgot about that. House of the Dead, that was Uwe Boll, I think, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
No, awful movie, you're right. I don't know if there are any that I think are like, they hit it out of the park, brilliant movies. But I love Need for Speed, Gran Turismo. This Street Fighter is a piece of shit.
I think personally that the TV shows we're getting now have been a lot more successful with the material.
100%. Fallout,
Last of Us, we've already mentioned. Halo.
Halo was okay.
I enjoyed Halo. I enjoyed Series 1 a lot more than the second series.
Did you finish the second series?
I did.
Okay.
But I was more invested in Series 1. Like that got me really excited.
Yeah.
And then I think they kind of squandered some of the potential in Series 2.
The problem with that is that they were touting that project for years. It was like, Peter Jackson's going to do it. Oh, okay, the Rings guy. And then they were like, oh, Neil Blomkamp's going to do it. And I was like, oh, I like the sound of that. And that never happened.
Have you seen anything he's done recently?
Gran Turismo.
Oh, yeah, fuck. That's so weird.
This is his best movie since District 9, though.
That's
for
so
me,
weird.
Anyway. Yeah.
Did you watch any of the Oat Studio stuff?
Oh, I did actually, and I did like some of that.
But for that guy to go on and do Gran Turismo is wild to me.
It's such a weird thing, yeah. But it worked.
Strange.
It worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of the best stuff has been limited series type TV show, and I wonder why that is because, I don't think when I say they nailed the template, what I mean by that is they figured out how to make $1 billion
Yeah.
from a video game movie. And obviously, I think the Chris Pratt Mario Brothers did extremely well.
That did really big numbers, and there's going to be a sequel to that, obviously.
Minecraft, wasn't that a big thing recently?
I think it did pretty well, yeah. I know nothing about Minecraft. I play Minecraft Dungeons, but that's a totally different game.
I think the answer is put Jack Black in it, probably, isn't it?
No,
unless it's Borderlands.
I was just going to say, again, it didn't work well for that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But I guess this was the first one to try and do it, so it was always going to be a risk. It probably was never going to work in whatever way. You've got to make so many mistakes, and like I said, it took years for them. You had this, you had Street Fighter.
Was that a year later?
Yeah, 94. Also a troubled production, and we will definitely get to that one day.
Oh, good.
In our Van Damme season.
Can't wait.
Van Damage. What else you got? Like the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movies, 2001-ish.
And then we had a bunch of weird stuff like Eon Flux. Was that a video game?
I don't know, actually.
Or was that its own thing?
No idea. It's probably based on something, yeah. I don't know if I ever watched it, actually. Warcraft, which I think a lot of people were excited for, but ended up not doing very well. I think that may have been a flop as well.
It was pants. And then we just had a bunch of weird shit over the years, like Prince of Persia and Assassin's Creed.
Oh, Assassin's Creed is a movie that I never finished.
Really
yeah,
unmemorable crap.
Did you watch Assassin's Creed?
No.
I heard it was terrible, so because I was quite excited for it, and then I heard it was terrible and was like, I'm not going to watch that then.
Look, if somebody makes a Tenchu stealth assassin movie, then you're talking.
Okay.
I've never played Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Gears of War. Somebody needs to do a Gears of War project.
They've been talking about that for years as well, and it's always been Batista that's touted around for that.
Yeah, and they need to get on it before he's too fucking old.
100%. I mean, he's still good to play it now.
Yeah.
But let's get it made. I think I did read something recently about them kind of confirming that's happening at Netflix, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need John Bernthal as Dom.
Okay. Put John Bernthal in anything, though, really, I think.
Yeah, but I think he'd be good at that role. And it's a shame that Michael Clark Duncan's no longer around to be L-Train.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll stop fan casting a completely different game now and get back to talking about Super Mario Brothers.
But that would be good, though. I've been excited for that for years as well.
Yeah. Do you think if anybody were to sort of attack this project again from the more adult-leaning angle, that you'd be interested?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think they should?
Are they going to do a remake of this 93 version, or just a complete reimagining? Like, because
total reimagining based on the original script.
It's never going to be a riskier project like this 93 version, though, is it? It's always going to be a just
it'll
really
be like the
safe
animated
movie.
one that we had recently, because they want all 4 quadrants. They want all the money, all the bombs and seats.
From what I heard, the best thing I heard about that movie is it was fine. And I ain't got time for that. And I would be interested, but only if they were like, we're going to come at it from a weird British comic book angle, like a Judge Dredd sort of thing. Because this kind of feels a bit like, that's another movie that we spoke about in our Tank Girl episode was Judge Dredd, but I also put Mario Brothers, Judge Dredd, Tank Girl in that same kind of...
They are in their own category.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is it cyberpunk or steampunk? And what is the difference? Because I don't think I know.
It's not really steampunk, no.
Okay.
Cyberpunk? No, it's not futuristic enough to be cyberpunk either.
Yeah,
I don't really
have
know.
brakes on their cars, do they? So there's that.
Sort of its own thing.
Everything's a gun.
Yeah, everything is a gun.
Yeah. What's it trying to say? I don't know.
So you think ultimately this is a movie with a message?
Yeah, it kind of is in a way, I guess. But what that message is unclear. There are many different things.
It's like a multiple pronged message.
Yeah. Maybe how plausible is it that when the asteroid hit, that our dimensions split in 2?
How plausible is it?
Yeah.
I mean, nothing's impossible.
Because I think the explanation on the documentary I watched was sound waves.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds legit, yeah.
And I wondered if that was that was possible if you're a scientist. Brian Cox, if you're listening, the scientist, not the actor. If you're the actor, he's already switched off going, fuck off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a crazy concept. Like
it's the fact that dinosaurs evolved into humanoids.
Wouldn't happen.
But of course not.
No.
Insane.
But that's another decision that I'm like, oh, this is weird. Like, how do you even come up with this? And I think that was very early premise. I think of the producer kind of went to Nintendo and was like, this is the basic premise of this. Asteroid hit 65 million years ago. Dimension split in two. Dinosaurs went one way and humans sort of evolved the other way.
But I think Nintendo was sort of on board for some of these ideas.
Yeah.
Like even the like Luigi and Daisy's relationship apparently was sort of made canon after this film. So they clearly approved of some parts.
I think that they didn't give a shit. I've
Really?
heard that they were a little bit like, yeah, they were getting offers from big studios. It kind of ended up being a smaller affair. And the producer, something Joffrey, I believe his name was, he went over to Roland. That sounds right, yeah.
Joffe, I think.
Joffe.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Japan and they sort of had a handshake and he said, this is my idea. Dinosaurs went this way and humans went that way. And they kind of were like, yeah, all right, fine. I like the cut of your jib, sir. Let's go for it. And I guess it hadn't happened before. There hadn't been a video game movie, big budget, released at the cinema type movie. So I guess they were like, yeah, sure, have the rights to make the movie. Thank you for the money.
They weren't saying that after the fact. I mean, obviously, Nintendo had other productions over the years, but I believe they were all animated.
I think they've been very protective over it since.
Yeah, they didn't make another live action movie until Detective Pikachu, I think.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
Is that a live action movie? I thought that was a animated movie for some reason.
Combination of the two.
Okay.
It's in like a live. Do you know what? It's all right.
I've heard that it's all right, and that's got to be. I quite fancy watching it actually.
I would watch that. It'd be a good Sunday watch.
A good Sunday watch.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's all right. Like it's a kids movie.
Yeah.
Jimmy from You're the Worst is in it.
Is he?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm in now.
Okay. But you do have to put up with Ryan Reynolds' shtick.
Yeah, but that was a while ago now. So was he less sticky than he is now?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Very much no. But yeah, they were so upset, not just at the financial flop that this turned out to be, but the critical reception as well.
Yeah.
So they, as you say, became wildly protective of their IP.
That's funny because, initially they were like, yeah, go on then. That sounds like a crazy idea. Why don't you do it? And then afterwards they were like, fuck, why didn't we do that?
Yeah, that's why we hadn't done it yet.
They overcorrected though, I think.
Yeah.
Because it took them so long to make anything else. And it wasn't another Mario movie out for 30 years.
Yeah, they were still pumping out animated content in the interim.
Yeah, but they've got all that sweet Nintendo money, so like they don't need to worry about the movies so much. It's about protecting their... What is the Nintendo thing now? It's the Switch, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
They're still going strong.
Yeah, and I mean, God, stuff like Super Mario is it must be one of the most heavily merchandised properties in the world.
Yeah.
So they're doing all right.
Yeah.
They're not short of a bob or two.
Every time we buy a pack of mushrooms from Asda's,
they
Nintendo
get royalties.
Gets 25%, yeah, of the profits.
It gets a little bit siphoned off to Lance Henriksen.
Yeah.
So, Super Mario Brothers. Have we covered everything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, the only thing I haven't mentioned is Luigi's sweet rainbow belt. He was an ally all the way back in 1993.
He has a rainbow belt?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. No, I didn't clock that.
Yeah, I was quite fond of that.
Mm.
Yeah, so this is something that I'm guessing you will continue to revisit and enjoy.
When I bought the Blu-ray...
So you have to now to make it worthwhile.
I kind of did anyway.
Yeah.
There was a big period there where I didn't revisit movies for a while in my 20s and early 30s. But yeah, I've seen this a few times since being an adult. I've seen it 2 or 3 times, I think, in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So
I've seen it 2 or 3 times with you in the last few years.
Right, okay. It's not quite a yearly, it's not quite a driven, but yeah, I do return to it quite a lot.
I'm sorry, I'm still so tickled that Driven is a yearly watch for you.
I know. It's like when do I just don't care about what I'm watching, but I want something that feels like a warm comfort blanket. Yeah, let's call Joe Tanto. It's not quite a yearly watch, but it's not far off. It's probably like a bi-yearly watch, I would say. So yeah, the investment in the Blu-ray was probably wise, although it's free on Amazon to watch at the moment.
But then you wouldn't have had that sweet hour-long documentary.
No, exactly. I was hoping for a commentary, but sadly there wasn't one on it.
Yeah, because you're a nerd. You had a Blu-ray show up to the house today, and you quickly looked on the back, and then looked up at me and went, "Yes,
yes, I did." You
love a commentary?
I do love a commentary, but that would, to be fair, that was specifically for an episode of the show. And I do like a commentary in general, but when I procure a disc and it's for something that we're going to be covering, it is like an extra, there's more thing here that I can consume and learn about the thing. But obviously we can't say what that is yet, because we haven't even announced the next season or what we're doing.
Well, on that note, I guess this sort of brings us to the end of flops. And I have to say, I know I kind of say this a lot. I didn't say this last season because I was all Nicolas Caged out. But this time round, I am very sad to be moving on. We've watched a lot of stinkers, but it's been so much fun throughout.
We have. I loved the Nicolas Cage season. It was my season. And I think...
Look, I think the films that you chose were great. It was just a lot.
It was a lot. I suppose you're right. This one has been more, I guess, because it's flops, there's a bit more range in what you can choose. Mm-hmm. And we've done some terrible movies. We've done some great movies. And I've done...
Really good first time watch for both of us.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I'm going to miss talking so much about movies that I love, especially when they're bad, and trying to figure out what it is that I love about them. I've enjoyed that aspect of it.
But also just kind of shirking that off and just being passionate about a thing that you like for no reason.
Yeah.
That's fun too.
Yeah, because it's got a fast car.
Yeah.
that was my one, really, wasn't it? But yeah, we have cometh to the end now. And we're moving on to season 11, aren't we? In a couple of weeks. June the 23rd, I think our first episode is out. Okay. Because why did we decide that next season is going to be your choice?
Because you did the last season. You did Nicolas Cage. Right. This one's been both of us.
Got ya.
So now it's me.
So now you're odds and I'm evens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's confusing.
I've always been odds, baby.
Yeah, that's true. But what should we announce what the theme is for next season?
Sure, let's go for it.
What have you gone for?
It's a thing that you know nothing about. The theme is drugs.
We're going to do drugs.
We're going to do drugs.
I'm devastated by that.
Well, I don't know how much. I don't think I will be doing drugs during this season. But we will be talking about drugs, specifically films about drugs.
Interesting. Okay.
Or that feature drugs heavily.
And we're going to go back to 8 episodes, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
Just done 10 because it was our 10th and celebration season.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to our regular 8. And you've programmed in 8 movies about drugs. Mm-hmm. Or the drugs are a thing in the movie, a central thing.
That's the same thing I said, but longer.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Can we announce the first one that we're going to do?
Sure, yeah. We're kicking off with Trainspotting because we kind of have to. If you're doing a season about drugs, you have to talk about Trainspotting.
You do have to talk about Trainspotting. Yeah,
That's
you're right. And it's a Danny Boyle movie, and there's another Danny Boyle movie coming out soon, isn't there?
There is, which I'm quite excited about.
What a coincidence.
I know. Isn't it? Fortuitous.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm quite excited to do something a little bit different this time.
Yeah, great. Let's do drugs.